Yeah, obviously this is a bit of a bombshell interview. It's been released in the wake of Monday's incredible 4-4 draw between Manchester United and Bournemouth at Old Trafford. The understanding is that actually he sat down with Portuguese media as far back as October when he was on international duty, and they've only now decided to release these quotes. But certainly they've filled plenty of airtime and plenty of column inches whenever somebody of this stature speaks about a club like Manchester United. That's always going to be the case. And it's interesting, just speaking to people connected to that dressing room, there is a sense, I think, amongst Bruno Fernandes' his teammates that maybe this could be the start of an Old Trafford farewell. Maybe this could be his last season at the football club. We know he's got a release clause of around about £57 million that kicks in the summer for overseas clubs. Obviously, there was the Saudi interest last summer, which is what he's talking about, and saying that although Ruben Amorim wanted to keep him, the impression he got is that the board wouldn't stand in his way if he wanted to make the move. Bayern Munich have been mentioned to me as possible suitors. And I've spoken on this a couple of times now, including on the Inside Devils show that we do on YouTube. I don't think if he was to depart at the end of the season and United is saying he's still part of their long-term plans, but I don't think any United fan would begrudge him. For my money, he's been the best signing since Sir Alex Ferguson left the football club. You look at the goals, you look at the assists. Yes, you can question at times some of the theatrics. Are they befitting of a Manchester United captain? But you wonder at times where the team would be without him. But for all the goals and assists, he's probably not got the silverware that his talent justifies. If he did get the chance to go and join a club like Bayern Munich, I'd say good luck to him.
Yeah, I think that's one of the things with him is he's a great player, not a great captain. I think that's been part of the problem, that he's been expected to do that role as well. I don't think it's natural to him, Crookie. I don't know what you think.
Well, there's different ways to lead. And I spoke about this with Jim and Simon when I was in the studio yesterday morning. The sort of John Terry, Roy Keane type captains don't really exist anymore, do they? The captains are just not made of that sort of metal, if you like. I'll go back to a story that I always tell when we talk about his credentials. I took my 3 kids up to Old Trafford. They're aged 11 to 15. It was Ruud van Nistelrooy's first game in caretaker charge against Leicester in the League Cup. It was a good win, 5-goal victory. And I said to the kids afterwards, let's just wait and see if you can maybe, get an autograph from one of the players outside the players' entrance. To a man, most of the United players, including Marcus Rashford, which particularly disappointed me at the time, walked past the kids, sort of heads bowed. Obviously, my kids weren't the only ones there. Bruno Fernandes spent an hour signing autographs, posing for pictures. It was a cold Tuesday night from memory. That's captain's behaviour. That's what it means to wear the badge for Manchester United. So I think you can lead in different ways.
Yeah. It'd be interesting to see him playing for someone good, is what I was going to say. He's done all this hard work dragging this team around. Just wouldn't it be so enough? He just went, I get the ball back from you. This is amazing. Well, this is how this works. This is extraordinary. Palace, you say have started succession planning for Oliver Glasner's possible departure. I mean, he's sort of spoken up. I mean, Palace are pretty well run. All clubs are doing this all the time. Well, you hope they are, don't you? If you are a club, you're hoping. But, they will definitely be looking at who is the next brilliant manager they can find.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that the nearer we get towards the summer, and obviously Oliver Glasner is out of contract at the end of the season, the more likely it is that I think he departs. He sort of expressed publicly, isn't he, that he wasn't particularly happy with the summer transfer market. Maybe didn't feel like he was backed enough by the board there. And as you say, Palace are looking around. A couple of names from La Liga that have been mentioned to me. Jose Bordalas, who's in his second stint in charge at Getafe. Took them into Europe in his first spell, actually, for a relatively small club in Spain. That's no lean achievement. The other name I've been told about is that of Rayo Vallecano boss Inigo Perez. And then there's Liam Rossini, who I think I spoke to you about last week, and Palace, one of the clubs who are potentially tracking him. So I think they're going to want an answer from Glasner one way or another fairly imminently, Palace, if he is planning at all to stay on beyond the end of the season, because if not, this hunt is going to have to step up, isn't it?
And where do you think he's going to end up? I'm assuming he's got a very big club in his sights, if possible.
Yes, I think so. I think he's proven in the Premier League. Obviously, worked wonders at Frankfurt as well. Won that Europa League final against Rangers. I was there in Seville. That was a big achievement at the time. Chelsea have been mentioned as admiring him, but I'm not sure. Does a manager like Oliver Glasner, does he encounter the same frustrations at Chelsea that Enzo Maresca is clearly making public knowledge now? So, listen, I think he's got a big job in him. You'd think if Ruben Amorim doesn't see it out at Manchester United, the fact they've built the squad to play the same system that Glasner has worked wonders with at Palace would make him a genuine front runner for that job as well.
Oh, much more fun if Man United go for a manager that insists on playing 4-4-2 and nothing else. Mike Bassett. Talk to me about John Arias at Wolves. I mean, I have seen him play a bit, but I couldn't tell you if he's good or not, Crookie.
Well, the stats tell you he's not particularly good. Yet to register a goal or an assist in the Premier League since he came in the summer. He cost £19 million from Fluminense. He was seen as the heir apparent to Mateus Cunha. Hasn't quite worked out like that. And there's a lot of noise coming out of South America now that clubs in Brazil, Palmeiras in particular, would like to take him back to that part of the world. I was told yesterday that his people are saying he's reasonably settled at Molineux, but the impression I get is that if Wolves got their money back, then they'd be tempted to cash in. I'm fascinated to see what this January window looks like for Wolves, because it's almost fruitless, isn't it, trying to chuck money at the problem, because they're not going to stay up. So it wouldn't surprise me if they just kept their powder dry, or maybe sign players proven in the Championship with an eye on next season. But there will be departures, if not this window, then certainly next summer. I would imagine João Gomez will go. And I think it could be one of the biggest mistakes that Wolves have ever made, turning down 65 million for Jurgen Strand-Larsen, because they're not going to get that money again next summer. That is for sure.
Yeah. I mean, I was trying to work this out. Is planning for the Championship this year different to just trying to win games in the Premier League? Like, is the approach different? Like, if you said, okay, we're done, how does that change your team selection for the weekend at all?
I think the point you're making is that Wolves have already got a lot of Championship level players, and you're probably right there. Their results suggest that. I think it's really difficult for Rob Edwards now, because he's come in. There's been no new manager bounce. I'm not saying that's his fault at all, because I don't think the squad is fit for purpose in the Premier League. But if they go between now and the end of the season and they don't win another game, which I think is possible, bearing in mind they've already lost at home to Burnley, then how do you rebuild confidence next summer and sort of change that negative momentum for a tilt of promotion? I don't think it's a switch that you can flick. So I think they're going to need wholesale changes in that squad just to bring a bit of fresh life.
What do you do?
Well, Cambridge had the record, right? Fever Pitch is a great chapter in Fever Pitch, Nick Hornby writes, where he was studying in Cambridge and they went on this run where they didn't win. They had Derby took it off them, right? But we had that record of and it felt like a badge of honour, even though it's before my time. And when Cambridge finally won a game, it was against Newcastle when they had Waddle and Beardsley and all that. And I just wonder if there's a little part, obviously if you go week in, week out, you like to see some wins, but a little part of Wolves fans going, imagine if we didn't win all season. Imagine how it would feel when we got our win.
I don't think they want that. I don't think Wolves fans want that.
I don't think they do, but I didn't like Derby taking that record. I liked that our club was the worst at that thing, but maybe that's just I don't know. I just quite like
football fan mentality, isn't it?
Yeah. It's a record. It's something.
In no other walk of life would you celebrate failure.
Yeah. But it does mean when you do get it, when something expectation ruins sport. If you have expectation, it ruins it. If you qualify for the World Cup easily, you don't care. Look at how Scotland, that Kenny McLean thing. England fans will never have that. We'll never have it because we'll get knocked out in the quarterfinal again. I don't know. I'm wittering now, Crookie, but thank you so much for listening to it.
Thanks, Crookie.
Yeah, thanks, mate.
Always a pleasure.
Alex Crook there, and you can get all of the transfer notebook at the website talkSPORT.com. AJ is going to win by first round. Nipples twister, says this text.
So actually, you can't do that in gloves. That's hard in gloves. Yeah,
it is. Almost more impressive than knocking him out. I said.